So, I'm going to ask these two a question. If you had to choose to be raised in one, would you choose a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage?
Victorian.
Victorian, yeah. You? Victorian or Soviet orphanage?
You would ask me that, I'm adopted.
Yeah, well, go. Answer.
Soviet.
Soviet? Alright.
Why Soviet?
Yeah, why Soviet?
Just a new experience.
Fair enough. And I'm guessing since you're British, you have to go with Victorian.
Yeah, exactly. And
Exactly.
dude, I've always wanted to be a chimney sweep. I can sing then. I don't know. I'm not going to fucking sing. I can't fucking sing.
Fair enough.
What's up?
So, if you had to choose to be raised in a Victorian orphanage or Soviet orphanage, which one?
Victorian.
Victorian? What about you? Victorian or Soviet orphanage?
Soviet orphanage because I'm miserable and I want to die as is and it'd kill me quicker.
Fair enough. So, sure. Would you rather be raised in a Soviet orphanage or a Victorian orphanage?
Victorian.
Victorian. Any reason why?
I like the Victorian age. It's probably terrible to live in, but I like the aesthetic.
It's all about aesthetics.
It's all about the aesthetic.
If you had the choice, would you be rather raised in a Soviet orphanage or a Victorian orphanage?
I did see that.
I would rather not be born, like at any time period. Yeah.
What about you?
What is the question again?
Would you be rather raised in a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage?
Sick, man. Hey, I felt really bad about that. I couldn't take it. Right now,
Victorian.
Victorian. Any reason why?
Well, they have prettier dresses.
Aesthetics. So, all about aesthetics.
hey, Chris.
Hey, Bunty, would you rather be raised in a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage?
Victorian, 100% Victorian.
Why?
Because at least they have okay porridge.
If you had the choice, would you be rather raised in a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage?
Soviet, because then at least I might develop a love for Mother Russia.
Fair enough. I have a question. Would you rather be raised in a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage?
In a which orphanage or a what orphanage?
Victorian orphanage or Soviet orphanage?
Neither. Fuck. Ew. No, I don't know how to answer.
So, if you had the choice between being raised in a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage, which one would you pick and why?
Well, I mean, I'd probably end up being killed either way because I'm a tranny. So,
Fair enough.
I would say the Victorian because I wouldn't starve.
So you have to pick between being raised in a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage. Which one and why?
Or what? Or
So a Victorian or a Soviet orphanage?
Well, both of them would have me dead. Victorian, I would probably die younger though, so I'll go with Victorian.
Okay.
Both
Fair
sound
enough.
ideal.
You're getting raised in either a Soviet orphanage or a Victorian orphanage?
I have to pick one.
Yeah, pick one.
Victorian or Soviet?
Yeah,
Oh, Victorian all the way.
Why?
Because, I don't know, Soviet Russia sucked.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Orphanage? Victorian orphanage or Soviet orphanage? You have to be raised in one? Which one and why?
Soviet orphanage?
Soviet, so you know Soviet Russia,
Yeah.
USSR, or a Victorian orphanage?
Maybe Victorian.
Why?
I don't know, Victoria just seems fancier, although Russia, from what I understand, they're actually like, as long as you follow the rules, which is technically really hard, as long as you don't like become an artist or something, you're probably going to be fine.
What about your daily bread?
You see the other orphanages who already died from starvation.
I am small, I am a small...
Okay, so you're a kid and you have to get raised in either a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage. Which one do you pick and why?
It's shit, don't worry.
I don't know.
Alright, this is right over to you. Same question. Victorian orphanage or Soviet orphanage?
Definitely Victorian orphanage because at least I can speak my own language and not some weird Russian shit.
Okay, fair enough. And you, Sonny. Victorian orphanage or Soviet orphanage? Which one do you pick to be raised in and why?
What?
Victorian orphanage or Soviet orphanage?
Yeah.
That's your answer. So, hello. So, you have to be raised in either a Victorian orphanage or a Soviet orphanage. Which one and why?
Victorian. Because it's more secure, I would believe. It's after all the major wars and before all the newer major wars. It's probably relatively safe. enough resources for everyone.
Fair enough.